This year, I hit 20,000 serves in 103 days. Did I learn anything? Did I get any better? I think so. That's what I'm going to talk about today. As a reminder, I did a video earlier this year on when I hit 10,000 serves. I'll put a link to that in the description box below. I also did a series of videos, a masterclass series, on how to serve better, all the components that go into the serves. Links to those in the description box below as well. First question is there any value in that second 10,000 I did? Those 10,000 serves after that first 10,000? I think so. There is this thing called the law of diminishing returns, which means the more and more you do something, the smaller and smaller percent improvement that you get out of it. When you first start serving, your improvement slope is really steep because you're learning a lot and getting better quickly. Your percent improvement is pretty large. The more and more you serve, then that percentage tends to trail off, and that curve, that upward improvement rate, gets lower and lower. That percentage is smaller and smaller. Then the question is, did I learn anything worthwhile in the top of that curve, or as I hit 16,000, 17,000, 20,000 serves that I didn't know before? And I think so. I'm going to talk about those. If you've watched my other videos on serving, you probably recognize this white laundry basket. I use it as my target when I'm serving. You need a target, you need a visual and a physical target, and not just have the open court over there to serve into. So what I do is I put it in the corner like this, and I think I mentioned in one of my other videos that it looks like it's a relatively large target. However, I don't think it really is. If I were to stand behind this in my ready position out here in the corner, you can tell that it's about the width of my feet. So if I were to serve to my opponent's backhand side or forehand side or right between their feet, it kind of represents a reasonable size target that I want to be aiming for. And can I have my serves accurate enough to where I can hit that target, that basket, on a frequent basis? And your definition of frequency may vary from mine, but we want that to get higher and higher over time. For the first 15,000 or so serves, I use this as my target. It was a reasonable thing to do, and I felt like I was getting relatively accurate when I concentrated about getting the ball close. I didn't always hit it. It's still a tough thing to do. To make life a little bit harder, I went down to this as my target. It's just an empty water bottle. It's empty. When the ball hits it, it clangs off of there. But if I were to put this down in front of the basket, you can see that's a much smaller target for me to try and hit. If I move this basket out of the way and put this back here close to the corner, you can tell that's an extremely small target to try and hit. What are the pros and cons for that? What are the pros and cons for having a target that small? I'll talk about the negatives first. It's pretty demoralizing. So if I think I have a really good serve and I think my aim is really good and I put a target this small across that net back toward the corner, I don't want it on the very baseline. I want to give myself some room for error here. It's still very tough to hit. And if I think I'm really good and I put a target this small on the court, I'm going to find out that I'm not. Because it's so small and because it can be kind of demoralizing, don't start off with something this small. Start off with that basket or maybe something even larger, but have in mind eventually I want to get to the point where that's kind of my target, because when I'm picking a spot to serve to across that net, I'm trying to pick a spot that's pretty small. What are the positives for having a target that small? It's the same as the negatives. It's very small. It forces me, if I want to get better, to work on what do I need to do to get better. And as I'm serving then, I have to start to understand, why did that serve not go right where this bottle is? And to be honest, what I try to do is I count every time that I hit this bottle. And if the ball bounces in front of it and bounces over and never hits that bottle, I don't count that as a hit because that serve was too short. It might still work in the game, but if the ball comes in and it bounces short and over this and it never actually hits the bottle, doesn't knock it over, or I don't hear that clang, I don't really call that as a hit. And then as I serve with this smaller target, it really highlights, did that serve go too far left, right, too short, or too long? And so that's a good thing. It actually forces me to focus on a smaller and smaller target. I did a video earlier about aim small, miss small, and the theory is the smaller your target, the more accurate your aim is going to be, because you're focusing on something very small. So if I had the basket here, that's a bigger target. If I hit that basket, then I feel pretty good about that. I want to progress to something smaller and smaller, and for me this is kind of a reasonable size. It's a good color, so it stands off, it stands out. I have some gray bottles and they didn't show up as well across the court, so yellow worked pretty well for me. And it's empty, and so if I hit it and knock it over, then I get some satisfaction of, okay, that was a really good serve. And when I knock it over, I have to stop my serving practice, walk across there, put it back in position, and then go back and serve again. And what that does is it forces me to be kind of like in a game, is where I haven't served in a while, and now I've got to walk over to that service position, get in position and serve when I haven't done that in a while. And so that replicates kind of a game scenario. So one is a positive, that I've got to go pick this thing up because I was successful at hitting it. And the other, it mimics the game situation a little bit, where I have to have a break in my serve, go do something else, go play some points, come back and serve again. And then can I, on that first serve, then get those serves in close to my target, which in this case is that bottle. Another thing I recommend you do is, if you're going to practice your serves on a regular basis, track it. Put it either on a piece of paper. I do mine in Excel, and so I have the dates, how many serves I served for that day, and I total those up, and I can see the progress to get to that 10,000 or get to that 20,000, and that's kind of a rewarding thing. And then lately, as I've had the bottle, I've started tracking how many times out of 100, what's my percentage that I actually hit that bottle. So started off, it wasn't very good. It's getting better. It's still not great because that's a small target. But I have something that I can look at and go, am I a little bit better today? Did I have a bad day today? And you will have those where you don't hit that bottle or your target as often as you did the day before. But I've been serving lately 200 serves a day. I started off less than that. I got up to 300. Now I've come back down to 200. So 103 days, 20,000 serves. I think that's pretty good. And I can see in my Excel sheet my progress as I've gone and how many serves I've actually hit this year. Strength is another added benefit, both in muscularity and in cardio. So what I generally do is I will serve my 200 serves during the day, which is where I am now, in a pretty rapid fashion. And so that will, in the past, it would have built up lactic acid and kind of gas out my shoulder. Sorry. I feel like I'm gotten stronger than that, so I can get through that 200 without my shoulder being gassed out. So my strength is going up. My cardio is better. I don't get winded as easily as I did it back at the beginning of the year. So strength and conditioning, just for serving, has gotten better. One of the things that has changed or maybe improved a little bit is my area of focus. As I get back here and get prepared to serve, I said in other videos to look across, figure out where your opponent is, where you want to serve. I still do that, but now I'm finding I have increased concentration around my feet and around the circle around me as I'm getting ready to serve. So my pre-serve physical and mental routines, those are important. My level of concentration here, my level of focus on this ball, and my swing mechanics. I'm finding more and more that if I do all of that well, the result across the net takes care of itself. So I'm less concerned about what happens when this ball lands over there. Now when it lands, I work backwards and go, if it didn't go where I wanted it to go, what just happened in this circle of focus that I had here when I was getting ready to serve this ball? Did I stay down long enough? Did I concentrate long enough? Was I focused enough? Was my swing path off a little bit, or maybe my follow through off a little bit? So I think of it in terms of, this is where I want to be focused around me here when I'm serving. And if I do all of that well, the result will take care of itself across that net when this ball lands. I'm also drawing this imaginary line in my head better, meaning that I pick a spot across the court as I'm getting ready to do my serve. I get in my stance, I'm all ready to go. And as I pick that spot of where I want this serve to go, say it's to their forehand or their backhand, either side, as I'm here, I will bring my head straight down in a straight line, and in my head I will draw a line straight from where I want that ball to land to where this ball is, And then as I execute my swing, I'm focused on this ball going right back out that same line. So I've done this in the past, but maybe not had as much focus on it as I should have, and I'm learning that now, is that if I will be here and I will focus or increase my concentration on where do I want that ball to land, and then as I get into my preparation, as I get into my stance, and I start to pull my head down into my circle of focus around my body here, one of the things I do is I start drawing this invisible line from that target all the way down to where I'm holding this ball. I will start my swing, and as I'm doing that, I'm visualizing this ball going straight back on that line. And that will control the left-right component, and if I do everything else well, it will control the height component as well. Another thing that continues to improve is my ability to diagnose why a serve didn't go where I wanted it to go. And primarily, the more and more I do this, the better I can feel as soon as that ball comes off of my paddle where it's going to go, and if it's not going where I wanted, what I did wrong. Did I not stay down long enough? Did my swing path of my paddle not follow, so it goes off to the left or it goes off to the right? If I didn't stay down long enough, maybe I dumped that into the net or I left it too high. So I'm able to determine better and better right when I hit that ball if it's going to go where I wanted it to go or not. With that increased ability to feel where that ball is going, then I am getting better at diagnosing what I did wrong. And then I have the opportunity to fix that the next time I get this serve on this side or on that side. When I get that next serve on this position, I think back and go, what happened to my previous serve? I didn't stay down long enough. I didn't follow the ball. I didn't chase the ball with my paddle as it went away. So the trajectory of my paddle after the swing wasn't good. And I think back through all of that. So as I've done this next 10,000, from 10,000 to 20,000, my sense of feel has gotten better, that as I contact this ball, I know immediately if I didn't do something well, I know what that is, and then I have the chance to fix that on the very next serve. My confidence continues to go up. I think I already had a good serve, but just having the increased ability to understand what I'm doing well or what I'm doing wrong or what I need to focus on has helped me feel like, if I miss a serve, it's not that big a deal. It's not as big a deal as it was in the past. And I just have more confidence that, okay, I know what I did wrong. I can fix that on my next serve. Or I know what I did right. I want to stay focused and keep doing that so my serve stays good during this game. So confidence level continues to go up, and maybe it was already high before, but I feel like if I have a bad serve or two or three, I can still fix that in this game. The more serve practice, the more drilling I do, the more I understand what my bad habits are. I have bad habits like everybody else. So that it could include me getting in a game and being too casual, grabbing the ball, looking across the net, and serving without going through all those details of the pre-serve routines or concentrating and focusing around my feet, taking the serve as seriously maybe as I need to. So the more I serve, the more I start to understand what my bad habits are. If I understand those, then I can start to fix those every time that I serve, and maybe those bad habits start to go away. I've learned that perfection is not possible. I kind of already knew that, but it got highlighted when I started using a target that small. I'm never going to hit that 100% of the time. The flip side of that is it's getting better, so I'm encouraged. I understand that now I have a tougher target to hit. It's going to take more concentration from me to hit that target. And then similarly, when I get in a game and I want to hit a smaller target on the other side to target my opponent's backhand or forehand or whatever, I have a little bit more confidence. So I'm never going to be perfect, but it's kind of interesting to try and get better and better and see that growth again in my Excel spreadsheet as I continue to practice these serves roughly 5 days a week. Bottom line is there's just no replacement. There's no substitute for drilling and practicing, for hitting those 500 or 1,000 or 5,000 balls. If you want to get better than those people that you play with, you have to do more than they do. You have to hit more balls. And what I've learned from going from 10,000 to 20,000, there are still things of value in here that I'm still understanding, that I'm still trying to cement into my brain and into my game. that are worthwhile. So even though there's the law of diminishing returns, where it kind of flattens out and that percentage of improvement gets smaller and smaller, there are still valuable things in there that we can learn and not just get to a certain point and then go, I'm going to go into maintenance mode and I'm not going to try and get to that next level, whatever that is. This is the first year I've gotten to 20,000. In the past, when I get to that 10,000, I would generally trail off and kind of go into maintenance mode. I decided to try and keep going and see if I could get to 20,000 this year, and I did. Tried to manage my shoulder better and not overwork it and wear it out too early in the year. I've managed to do that. My shoulder's still in pretty good shape. Can I get to 30,000? I don't know, but that's my next goal. I'm going to try and get there, and I'll see what happens. If I make it to 30,000 and I learn something worth sharing, I'll be sure to let you know. Thanks for watching.